Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Thursday night here in the Hunt household. Oh my goodness gracious, what an evening so far. I hope you guys are all doing great. We've actually been here in the studio, I think for, what, has it been like, what, maybe an hour and a half already? Hour and a half? Feels like forever, Alan says. We finally kind of started to open things up here in Michigan, and so my husband, who's the IT director for the law firm where he works, had to drive to Chicago. And long story short, we have this whole other business where we sell data storage equipment, and he's doing some stuff for Dell. He's got to film some video stuff or whatever it is, and so he ended up having to take the cameras out of here with him to Chicago. So we get up here this evening and we've got all these issues. We had to completely reset everything up. So it's been a little trying, but we're still married. We're still getting along. At least we're faking it really well right now. I'm kidding. So anyway, gosh, I hope you guys are doing great. I've got my little spring dress on here. I've got these little daisies, and we're in kind of like a little field today because it's been so beautiful here. It's Michigan, so you never know what you're going to get. But it's been absolutely lovely. And let's see who's here today. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. And by the way, today we added, we're actually live on our Facebook page too. So this is the first time we're doing that. So we're actually streaming in 3 places. So that's kind of cool. So Stephanie's here. Hey girl. That was actually her idea. She's like, what about the Facebook page? And I went, yeah, you're right. So Kathy Marvel's here. Hi, Cindy. Patty. Hi. Martha, good to see you here. And Judy Markowitz and Alina. Hi, girl. Who else is over here on YouTube? Let me see. We've got Chris Lawler. Hey there. And Candace and Linnea is here. Hey, Linnea. And Sue and Candace. Hey, Candace. Diane, Marilyn. Oh, my goodness. So many. It's so good to see you guys here. I'm really excited about what we're doing. I was actually looking for like a really cute little bunny background because I'm going to be playing with a Polkadoodle set today. You know, we have these bird feeders out back. I'm not allowed to have a dog, according to my husband. There aren't many things that will make him leave me, but that might be one. So he loves dogs. He just doesn't want one because I travel. That's really like a big thing. So anyway, we have these bird feeders out back, and so we get all kinds of birds and all kinds of little creatures, which is absolutely fantastic. But lately, all of a sudden, we've been starting to get bunnies, and we have deer, and I know I've talked about this, but we've had these really, really cool bunnies. We've got these really big, beautiful bunnies. And so when I came into the studio and I was like, what am I going to work with? And I grabbed, let me show you the stamp set I'm going to work with. I grabbed this, it's from Polkadoodles. It's part of our Polkadoodles range. And it's called 24 karat and is the cutest thing. And I absolutely love these bunnies. And I thought, you know, I haven't colored this one in a long time. So I'm going to play with this one because I want to honor the little bunnies that have been keeping me company during my morning tea. So I'm going to switch the camera here so that you guys can see everything that I'm going to be working with. So give me just a moment. Let me close some of these things here to clean up a bit. Because I only have so much room, right? Does this look a little pink? Something might be a little bit pink here. Let's see if I can change. Ooh, that one a little green. Okay, so anyway, here we go. Something's off about the color, Alan. It looks a little weird. So anyway, here, this is a 4x6 stamp set, and on the front we have the images, which is the opposite of what our others are. And on the back, you can see the stamps in the back here. And there's a whole bunch of them. So we have these cute little, but let me go back to here because it's easier to see. We have this little bunny here with the big old floppy ears, and he's forward facing. We have this little one here, so he's like backward facing. And then we have the little one here with this, well, like with his head chopped off. But I think he's like one of my favorites in here because you can make him kind of peek around a corner. And so I kind of did that on the card. And then we have all these little accessories. So we've got like an Easter egg in here if you want to use it for Easter. I know a lot of people, when they think about bunnies, they think about Easter, but I think about spring and summer because we have them all year long, and I just love them. And look at that carrot, isn't that the cutest thing? So anyway, I also decided to, and you'll see how all this comes together. This is our waffle cone stencil that I put in here as well. I pulled one of our papers from our Sweet Sensations, and then I wanted to back everything with this practically oval stamps or a die set here. And I mentioned this the other day on Tuesday when I was talking about the dies and the way that I like to do our die sets. Instead of having just a whole bunch of nested ovals, I like to have, I mean, the way that we do these, it's really so that you can get more for your money. So when you purchase one of our die sets, you're going to get several different shapes that all kind of coordinate and work together. We've even got some little tags and like some little emblem pieces in here so that you can use one set to create and layer some absolutely beautiful cards. And it's not just a repeated variation or repeated set of the same exact shape. So let's get started. I want to show you something that I did here, and please ignore me. This is just a little scrap piece of paper, and I happen to have a little white on it. One of the first things that I did for this card involved this waffle cone stencil, and I want to show you how I did this. And you may have seen this before, but see how this paper has that embossed look? I don't know if you guys know, but you can use your stencils to actually emboss as well, and I think it's really, really cool. I'm not going to do it because I don't have a big enough space right here to put my machine, but I want to show you how I did it because I think it's really, really cool. So now you can use whatever machine you like to use. I don't care if you have a Big Shot or a Gemini or whatever it is. But you want to line this up the same way that you would do embossing, and I'm sure you've got instructions with your machine. They all come with them. So this one happens to be from a Big Shot. So on this one, this is not the magnetic platform. This is like the standard one that comes with it. So you want to use the first little tab here, and then you're going to be putting down. I just want to show you the layers of how this worked and why it works. So you put that down. You put your first plate down. You want to always use that little embossing mat that you have, and yes, mine is filthy. The next thing you're going to put down is going to be your paper, and then this is where you're going to put your stencil. So whatever shape or pattern you have for your stencil, that's what you're going to put down, and then your next plate. And then I could run it through like this. With my Big Shot, it's not going to have a tremendous amount of resistance, and it's going to give me a very, very small amount of that embossed look. So I actually took several pieces of cardstock here. This is really thin cardstock, and I laid it over the top almost like a shim, and I ran it through the machine, so there was a fair amount of resistance. And then after you do that, this pattern is then going to be pressed into your paper. And it gives her a really, really, really neat but subtle background. So that's just a really quick little idea of a way to make your stencils go a little bit further, especially the ones that have, that have an all-over background pattern. But if you have one that has flowers or something and you just want to get that impression of the flower or whatever it is in that paper for your background, that'll work too, and it's absolutely beautiful. So just want to give you a little quick how-to on that. And I wanted to show you it on that burgundy because I did it in white, and we have to flood the studio here with a lot of light so you can see what we're doing. So it doesn't show up quite as well on the one that I did for the card. Let me lift this up. Do you see that there? So it's white on white. Isn't that pretty? If I just hold it straight like this, the light floods it and it's too much, but I'm angling a little bit so you can see it. So let me move these aside, and I want to show you what I did. So here's my little guys that I've already started working with. Let me get my glasses on. And we're going to zoom this camera because we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So on Tuesday, somebody asked me the question, because I was doing a little bit of coloring on Tuesday. Somebody asked me the question, because we were talking about grays, and they said, what colors would you use if you wanted to color white? And so I thought, perfect image. I want to color white with this little bunny. I could have made him brown, any color I wanted, but I'm going to make him white because that's what I want to talk about today, is how to color white. And so this is what we're going to do. I've already pre-stamped. You guys have seen me stamp before. Here's a little guy with his little head peeking around the corner. But I'm going to set those things aside, and we're going to color this little bunny right here. Alan, I need you to zoom in a little bit for me because I don't think I can do that without messing up my camera. So I want to show you what I did. Now, we've talked about the different shades or the different types of grays. Let me see. Yep, that looks good. We've talked about the different types of grays. There's a cool gray, a neutral, a warm. This is in terms of, well, actually, those exist no matter what kind of markers or whatever you're using. Those are just colors of gray. With Copics, it's going to start with a W if you use a warm, a C if you are using a cool gray, and an N if it's a neutral. The difference being a warm means that it's going to have a brown undertone. A cool gray is going to have a blue undertone, and a neutral is not going to have a blue or a brown undertone. That's going to be more along your lines of a true black if you're working your way up or down from black. So I decided to grab W0, 0, 1, and 3. And I'm going to start with 1. And I'm going to start working my way. Now I did this, I've stamped on my Nina, my Solar White, which is a really good white. This is meant for alcohol markers. I've talked about this before. Your paper is one of your tools. So you want to make sure whatever medium you're working with, you're working on the correct paper. And so I've stamped this with my Raven hybrid ink. So here's my Raven. It's a hybrid ink. It's going to have it's a combination of properties, so I can use it with watercolors, I can use it with Copic markers and all kinds of different mediums and so on. So right now, I'm not going to go, like I said, I've stamped it already. I'm not necessarily teaching you how to stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and just start applying a little bit of my W1. So because I want this to look like a white bunny, I'm not going to apply this gray everywhere. I'm just going to kind of think a little bit about the contour of his ears, for example, in this instance. And I'm adding a little bit of shading because the ears are going to kind of contour around, so that you're going to have a little bit of a shadow there, right? And I'm going to kind of come around with all the different areas where I might have some shading. And I'm just going to drop a little bit of color in. One of the things that I started doing when I first started coloring with Copics, or really crafting in general, is I started paying attention to light source around me in every room. No matter where I was just kind of paying attention to light source and where shadows were. Now, I don't get it right all the time, but you know, I try. I'm not a full-on artist. I'm a crafter. I do the best that I can. I'm sure I get it wrong a lot of the time, but you know what? I don't really care. I just want to make something look like it's got some dimension to it. So all I've done is kind of touched around where I want to have a little bit of shadow, where I think it makes sense to have it. Now I'm going to go up to my W3, and I'm going to go over those areas again, but I'm not going to go in as deep, and I'm not going to go in with as much. Alan, I think this looks maybe like it's a little blurry. I'm not sure. Does it look great over there? Okay. Maybe it's my old eyes that are blurry.
I think that's the blur.
The blur is my eyes?
Yep.
Could be. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck in a tiny little bit. Sorry, just to contour a tiny little bit around in here. An extra little bit of shadow. I'm going very, very light. And again, notice I move my image around. I don't move my hands around. I don't put down color properly if my arm is twisted. I think you need to be comfortable when you're working. Alan, do we have any questions from anybody as I'm doing this?
Not yet. Nobody seems interested in questions tonight.
So now this is my 0, 0. And I'm just going to kind of go over that a tiny little bit, the 0, 0, and just bring those two together a bit. All right, so that's going to just blend that color out a little bit. I'm going an extra little dark for you guys too, because we have to flood things with light in the space here. Let me look at it on screen and see how we look. Looks pretty good. Now this is a blending, this is your 0, which is your blending, your colorless blender. And if you ever have any areas where you think maybe you're not getting the blend that you want, you can use this. This colorless blender will kind of meld the colors together. You can also use it to push color. Okay, if it's not moving quite the way you want it to, you can use this blender to kind of push that color a bit. I'm not going over everything. I just wanted to move it around just a little bit. This is a great tool if you go out of the lines and you want to push the color back up. You can do that with your colorless blender as well. So that is all that I would put down to make it look like he's white. So when I'm working with white, I really leave a lot white, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is color his little ears. And this one is an RV. Here, if I ever want to test my colors, I always go, because on this one I was going to cut them out, so I can test my colors right up here and see if I like the color. But I'm going to put a little bit of pink up into his ear. Bring a little more in here, a little bit on his nose. Leave that little center white. And I could put like rosy round cheeks in there if I want, but I didn't. I just kind of put a few little strokes because I don't want him to look like he's, I keep saying he, but I mean it could be a she. I just want a little hint of pink, and I don't want big round circles for pink. I want it to look more like a little bit of a blush. And then of course I'm going to bring some around on the little collar here. And I've got two more colors. This is, excuse me, R13, or I'm sorry, RV, which is a red violet, which we'll go with pink. RV13 and RV14. And I'm going to bring that in just a little bit. Now I'm leaving the center the lightest. Put my darkest color, my 1,4 on the outside, and then I come in with my RV00 and just finish off in the center so it looks like it has a shine in the front there. Really, really easy. I'm going to use those same two colors, the RV13 and 1,4, on this little flower here. And I'm not trying to give this a real look. I just want it to look, fun. So that was my lightest color first. I'm going to come around with my darker color and leave the little bits on the outside a little bit lighter, and it just gives a little bit of dimension. So that's all we need with the pink. So you can see how quickly this comes along. And let's see. Alrighty. So the greens that I chose, I've actually got 3 of them, but on this one I'm only going to use 2 in this part. I've got YG, which is a yellow green, 06 and 07. So take the lightest, of course. I'm just going to color in these little leaves. And then this is my 07, which is a little bit darker. and just come in where it might be a little bit darker for that little bit of shadow. And that's it for that. I have my, oh, you know what I forgot was his arms. I'm going to come in back in with my W1 and just add a little bit on the arm there, and a W3 just to give a little bit of dimension. Now for this little shirt, you can see how easy, how fast this came together. For the shirt, I've got these beautiful blues. Now I pulled this, I want to show you, I pulled this piece of cardstock. It's from the Sweet Sensations paper pack. It's the color right here. And so this was my inspiration for the color of this little bunny's shirt. So I've got here BG01, 02, and 05. And I can test them here if I'd like. And I'm just going to start adding some color in. Now you've seen me do this. I'm going to leave some areas white because ultimately I want those to be, oops, I think I missed some on the shirt over here, so let's add that in. Ultimately, I want those to be my lightest areas. So I'm coming in here and I'm leaving some areas white just so they don't get as many coats of the blue. But again, this is a very quick color. And then I'm going to come in with the darkest one here. And you're going to see me go over this at least 2, maybe even 3 times, just to get the depth of color and the blend that I want. So now this is my, nope, that's not my lightest one. I want my lightest, which is my 01. I've mentioned this in the past too. I color light to dark. It's not the right way. It's not the wrong way. It's just the way that I do it. It's the way that I learned. It's the way that I'm most comfortable. If you want to color dark to light, go for it. So now I'm going to bring in my next darker, my medium kind of blue here, and just bring that in a tiny bit more, because I kind of blended it out a bit. And bring back some of the darkest on the outside. And then I'm back to my 01 just to blend that in. And so now you can see that those areas that I had originally left white are the brightest because they don't have as many layers of color over the top. So he is basically done with the exception of the yellow in the center of this little flower here. Let's get that in there. He is basically done. The next thing that I want to show you really quickly is the carrot, because I colored up this little carrot, and I want to show you how fast that was to do. And the reason I did it first is because I fussy cut it. This stamp set does not have a set of dies with it, but it was designed with very, very simple lines that make them really, really easy to cut with your, just by hand with a pair of scissors. I do not like fussy cutting. I will tell you that. I'm perfectly honest about it. It is something that I absolutely cannot stand. I don't do it well, and so I avoid it whenever I can. But because this image is colored or drawn so simply with such easy lines, I didn't hesitate to grab it knowing that I was going to have to fussy cut it because it was so easy to do. So there we go. There is my little carrot. That was 2 shades of orange. I used YR04 and YR68. The 68 has a little more red in it, and the 04 has a little more yellow in it. And so that's why you can see that little bit of, that it's kind of like a shine, I guess, in the center there. And then for my greens, I pulled it in a different green this time. So I've got YG06, which is what I had before, or actually did I use, I think I did that. We'll see. I have my YG06, YG07, and then G9 because I wanted a really strong finish on the green for the leaves here. But true to form, I'm going to start with my lightest color. And I'm just going to give a coating of this everywhere. And then very simply, this is my 07. Not much of a difference with this color. There is a little bit, but it's not a real strong difference. But when I come in with this G09, I'm going to put this down very sparingly because this one is really dark. And then I'm going to blend with my lightest color and just pull that in together. I'm going to add back a little bit of the G09 in a few areas where I really want that green to be darker. I really want it to stand out. Just keep in mind, you can always put more color in. As long as you've got a good paper, you can do, several layers. But it's harder to remove color. So there we go. And then, so you can see how easy that is to color. So then I just went through and I fussy cut. Oh, and something else I almost forgot to tell you. I also put a little bit of a gray on the inside of the ears here. And this is just my 01. My W1. I just added a tiny bit up in here just to give a little bit of a contour to the ear on the inside. So that's basically it. You can see how quickly that comes together. And then a really quick fussy cut, and let me put these away. And then you end up with these guys here. All right? So now we're going to tackle this little bit here. Now, I cut this with that die. Where's the die? This is the largest die in the Practically Oval. I actually cut it out of my my Nina paper. And I want to show you, I want to show you how fun it's going to be to color these because I think this is going to be really cute. I want the background to be, this background to be flat. And then my plan is to layer up some of these pieces up on foam to give the dimension on the front of the card, and then we'll have this pretty the pretty background in here, and then we're also going to pop a sentiment in there. So just like I colored the first bunny, I'm going to go in and give this little guy a tiny bit of color. So let's get some pink in his little ears here. I've got his nose already. I'm going to give him a tiny, tiny little bit of cheek pink on his cheek. Just because he's a happy little bunny. Any questions from anybody, Alan?
Not yet.
Not yet. Everybody's so quiet. Keep in mind, we have a giveaway coming up in a little bit, like as we get toward the end. And if I don't know you're here, I can't possibly call your name, right? So I put a little bit of my W1. I'm going to give him a little bit of a shadow up at the top of his head. And then just kind of contour his face a little bit. I'm not going all the way up with it. Just a little bit of contour on his face. And then I'm going to take my W3 and just strengthen that a little bit. But I'm not covering all of the area that where I put the W1, just a little bit. Very, very thin little bit. I think I'm going to do a tiny little bit by his nose here.
It's a request to give him some whiskers.
Oh, we want whiskers? I don't know if, I know what, I don't have the right, don't have the right marker here. If I use one of these, I think it's going to be too thick, but it's a very good idea. I don't have the right tool with me. I'd have to dig around and probably find a really fine Copic multi-liner. I'm going to use my blender here just to soften some of that gray that I put down on his face. There we go. So I love the idea of the whiskers. I just don't have the right tool here with me. So keeping with the same color scheme, I'm going to use these blues on this little bird. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love blue jays. So I love blue birds. I'm going to give this little guy a little bit of blue. Can you see that really well, Alan?
Yes, the blue, yes.
The bird.
Yes, the blue bird, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure he shows up. It looks a little blurry to me. Fix that a little bit there. Blend that a little bit better. And then I'm going to put a little bit of a yellow beak on there. Oop, and I almost forgot his tail, didn't I? Let's get that little tail, those little tail feathers. There we go. How cute. Okay, now we have this grass and these flowers to contend with. So I'm going to do this very quickly. Anywhere where it looks like I might have a little center or something to my flowers. I think I might be going on the back side of that, but I can fix that. Let's do this pink on some of them. I'm going to fix that and make that a little bit of a green because I think I went on the wrong side of that flower. So there's pink, and I'm going to do some of the flowers in yellow, I think.
We got some questions.
Okay, we have some questions. Oops, got a leaf there, but that's okay, I can go over it. Beverly is saying, did you die cut first and then stamp the image? No, I actually stamped it and then I hand cut it because this particular set does not have dies to cut it out, but it's really, really easy to cut it out. It has a, it has very, very simple lines. And so I was able to fussy cut it. And I do not like to fussy cut. Drives me nuts. I don't do it well. My hands shake. I have a little bit of arthritis in my hands. But these images are so easy because the lines on them are so straight and so simple. So it was really, really easy to cut out. So I think I got them all. Let's get that one there. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the darker green just at the base of each of those, just to dot that in. And just adding that little bit of the darker green right at the base of the leaf gives it that extra little bit of dimension. Now let's see, where'd the other questions go, Alan?
Sorry, I'm cleaning them up. There you go.
He's moving questions too fast. Sharon says, do you know if bunnies hibernate in cold areas? Like, yeah, well, I don't know if do they hibernate? We don't see them, but we do have bunnies all the time. I don't see them in the wintertime. Lisa's saying, are you going to continue your craft alongs once things get back to normal? Absolutely. I've had so many people ask that, and people have been wanting them. I don't know if I'll be able to continue doing twice a week once things go back to normal, but I am definitely going to be doing at least once a week. So this is where we're going to have a little bit of fun with this grass. I've got my lightest color. Now these are all the same shades of green that I was using before. So this is YG06. I'm going to pull this down into here. I don't even care if I stay within the lines necessarily with this. You're going to see what I do in a moment. Because I'm just going to kind of improvise and customize a bit. The motion that I'm doing is, we call it a flick, where you basically touch down and then flick up a little bit. All right. And so I'm going to come in here at the bottom, and I'm literally going to give this all green down in here, because I want this to, this is the grass, and I think it would look really, really weird if it just cut off. And yes, it looks very scribbly right now, but I'm not concerned about it. I'm going to start going in a single direction and pulling through. And as long as I'm kind of cutting through and kind of cross hatching and stuff, it's going to start to blend together and it won't look very scratchy. I'm going to go up in my color again to YG06. Oh, I'm sorry, 7. And I'm going to start adding some extra, little more depth of color. If I go outside of the lines a little bit, I'm not worried. Now this stamp here, by the way, let me show you which one this is. This at the bottom is this little stamp right here. And I actually stamped it right in the center, and then I offset to the right and I offset to the left just to extend it all the way across. Now I've got my G09. And I'm going to start adding, you're just going to start seeing me flick this here and there. It's not going everywhere. I think it gives it a little more of a natural look. Okay, I'm not going to go real strong with this in the base of it. Let's see. Get a little more color down in here. All right. And now I'm back in with 07. I'm going to start flicking in here. Give it a little bit of an unevenness at the bottom of it. So we start adding a little bit of texture down in there. And then here is my 06. I'm just using like little flicks every now and then in here, and I'm going in some different directions just to give the idea that we have, it's kind of the suggestion. I don't mean for this to look totally realistic like grass. What I want is just to have that texture of it. So in the areas where I've created this grass and put all this green down, it just has a little bit of texture. That's all. It's not supposed to look real. It's just supposed to look like we have the suggestion of it, kind of cartoon-like. Okay, so let's start putting this together. I think that looks really cute. I think it's really pretty. I like it. So here's my card base. Now I have been making a lot of cards portrait like this. And this time we're going to do, it's like, I guess you can call it like a tent. Daisy Ray 99. Do I have a stockist in Australia? That's a hard question to answer. We have a distributor in Europe that distributes overseas. I don't know if they distribute to Australia. I would imagine that, you know, and if anywhere overseas could place an order from them, even if they weren't, you know, right there near them. But the issue, the problem, and is that I don't get the list. So we don't get a list of of all the stores that carry the products. So this is that background that I told you about. So the card is A2, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's scored down. The score line is up at the top. I took this card right here, and this one is cut, so it's just, I took off, it was 1/8 of an inch off of the length and the width. Did I mention the watercolor class on Saturday? I have not mentioned it yet, so I will be talking about that watercolor class as soon as we are done with this card in the giveaway. So stay tuned. I will be giving you details on that. So I'm going to go ahead and place this down on here. And then this is that text. I lost the camera.
Okay, sorry.
Oops. Okay. So here's that textured piece that I talked to you about that I did with the waffle stencil. And I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. Let's see. All right. Now this one I want to have some dimension, so I'm going to pop this up on my trusty foam. And somebody asked the question, what kind of foam is that? This is Scotch. So the foam that I use is by Scotch. I really like it. It cuts very, very well. It's not gooey. It's not overly sticky. It is forgivable. So if I lay this down here, I can pick it back up again, but it's not going to fall apart. You know, the card's not going to fall apart on me, so it does hold it really nicely. I also like the width of this. This is 3/4 inch width. The thickness is very thin. It's only like, I don't know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So I have choices. I can double it up if I want it to be thicker, but I don't always have to have it thicker. So here we go. Let me move this down here so I can see. I can't put my head over the camera. And I want to get it straight. There we go. There we go. And so here's where I get to build. Oh, shoot. You know what I forgot? Ooh, I forgot my sentiment. Don't I always do that? Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can get the sentiment on here. All right. Can I stamp with foam on here? Let's see. You know, I think it'll work. We'll see. Let me put this on here and see if I can do it. Uh-oh. What was I thinking? Do I have a sentiment I can just stick on? No, I don't. I want to use this one. It's your 24 karat friend. That's the one I've wanted to use on here.
You're using the giveaway one, are you?
Huh?
Are you using the giveaway?
Oh my gosh! No, actually.
Did you?
I did. I grabbed the prize stamp set. Oh boy. I'm such a goof. I put it in front of me here so it would be out of my way and I wouldn't grab it. I always grab the prize set. So that one's no longer the prize set because I've opened it. Alan, you got to say that before I do it. Oh well. So let's see. All right. I hope this works. I have never stamped. I can seriously say I've never stamped on foam. So we're going to see how this works. You guys may be witnessing me really royally screwing up this card right now. Oh, cross your fingers for me. Please, please, please. It worked! Yay! Oy vey. I love my job. I love my job. I love my job. Oh, I actually do love my job. All right, so this one, which was the giveaway, and I've put it in here backwards too. We'll fix that later. See, we all make mistakes. What are you going to do? You know, you just got to laugh about it because what else can you do? My favorite is when I make a mistake in front of everybody because there's seriously nothing I can do about it. Just roll with it, baby. Okay. So let's see. What are we going to do? This is what I'm thinking. It's going like that. And then I want him to hold the carrot because I think it'd be really cute. So I'm going to go ahead. I actually like that. I didn't know if that cloud was going to fit, but I like it. This is a cloud that I had left over from a different card that we had made together. And it was sitting on my craft desk, and I thought, well, let's pull that in and see if we can make it work. Why do you cover your magnets on the Misty? Ooh, let me get that out and I'll show you why. And this, I don't know who I saw do this, but somebody did it, and it was awesome. Have you ever had your magnets stick together? My favorite is when they stick together and they pinch your fingers. That's really, I love that one. When they stick together like this, and you can't get them apart and you're like cramming your fingernail in there, look what I can do. It's awesome. And so I can just, oh my gosh, I just broke one. I broke a magnet. I've never had that happen.
How do you break a magnet?
It snapped in half.
Wow.
That's interesting. Somebody needs a new magnet.
Wow.
Well, anyway, the point is I can easily just lift these up and move them around. And it also makes it easy to find if it gets stuck someplace it shouldn't be. I saw somebody do that, and I thought it was absolutely genius. Yeah, that one's broke. That's what we call garbage. It's now garbage. Okay. So let's get some foam on the back of this little bunny. What? My husband's laughing.
You broke your magnet while you asked the question.
Oh, don't feel bad. I didn't, you know what? That magnet was going to, it probably only had one more, you know, good snap on it anyway. If it broke, it was just going to break anyway. It's fine. You know how long I've had that? It's totally fine. Nobody's fault. All right, this piece is just too long. So now I've got this, this cloud is up on foam. So I have that up on one depth of my foam. And so I'm going to put my bunny, because he's going to go in front, I'm going to put him up on a double depth of the foam. So I put the one layer down, getting myself a second layer of foam here. Whoops. And it's sticky stuff. Make sure none of it shows from the front. Looks good. And look, I gotta tell you, I even cut around each one of those little whiskers and the little hairs on that hair. Get it? Hairs on the hair. That's my dad joke of the day. If I can fussy cut that, there was no stomping my feet, no cursing, no grunting, no growling. I was very proud of myself. I did it. And I would do it again. All right, let's see. How's that going to fit? That is just the cutest little thing, isn't it? All right, you know what I got to do, though? I got to cut part of this off because it's in my way. I have the foam back there, and it's in the way. And it's going to be hidden back there, so it doesn't matter. That is how you solve a problem.
Did you double layer the right ear?
Yep, I double layered the right ear.
Okay.
There we go.
Or the correct?
The correct.
Okay.
I got to triple layer that one. So I'm going to cut another little piece of foam to go behind that other little bunny ear, because his ear goes off of the layers and I don't want it to be pressed. There we go. I don't want it to tear, so I want it to be, you know, I didn't want it to fold backwards and I didn't want it to tear off. Now what about this little guy? Look how cute. He's going to be carrying that carrot. That one is going to get a little bit of adhesive. So this is my Aleene's Tacky Glue. Love this stuff. It's good stuff. So he's curing that carrot. Let me put a tiny, tiny little bit underneath here. Just to hold that. There we go. Isn't he she? It's a she, it's a flower. Isn't she lovely? My son would be just cringing right now. Look how cute. And look at this little guy. He's just popping his little head in there. How cute. So I'm going to turn this kind of on an angle because I want you guys, let me turn this brightness down because I want you guys to be able to see the texture. Can you see that on there? It really comes through. I wish you could see it better. The lighting is not, it's just so bright. We have to flood the light so you guys can see everything. Can you see that waffle texture? And if you could see that in person, you'd be like, ooh, ah, because it's really cute. We go like that. There we go. That's a good, is that a good shot? I think so. There we go. All right. I just love him. He's just popping his little head out there. So, oh my goodness. I think that card is done and I really like it a lot. I think it is super cute. I love that little guy who, I keep calling him a guy. I don't know why I'm stuck on that.
I don't know. He's got a flower in his hair.
He's got a flower in his hair and he's wearing a dress. I don't know.
Call him David.
I call him David. What show is that?
You can't say that on air.
Huh?
Can't say it on air.
Why can't you say it on air? Oh, I can't say it on air. Oh, man. It's a good show. Something Creek. We'll go with that. Something Creek. Alan, we got low battery here. I don't think my computer's plugged in.
Okay.
This one. You got to plug that in. Please, quickly. We don't want that to die. What happened?
You didn't plug it in.
I didn't have it plugged in. Oh my goodness.
Are you going to be on in July?
HSN? Yes, July 14th is our HSN date. I don't have the times yet. I actually will, oh, I hope I didn't just like hurt your ears there. I hit the microphone. I will actually not be on. Holly's going to be doing the shows, but we've got, I think we have 8 different kits that are going to be on in that day. So it's actually really, really cool. It's a Christmas in July, so we have some really, really cool things. Really, really fun. So you got to watch for Holly and check out the schedule big time once they post it. It's going to be a really, really great day. We've got some really, really, I cannot stress enough, fantastic things that I'm so excited about that are going to be on HSN on that day. This is our watercolor class. Somebody had asked about that. The watercolor class that I'm doing, it's a 2-hour class. It's on Saturday. It's a completely free class. So it's this Saturday, 2 days from now on the 6th. Eastern Daylight. It's Eastern Daylight time zone, so it's 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's going to be about 2 hours, and we're going to color up the cherry blossoms. I'm going to teach you the way that I do it with watercolors. If you look on our Facebook group, I think I put it on the Facebook page as well. You'll see the list of all the tools that I recommend you have with you in order to paint along with me. Excuse me. Choking. I'm choking, I'm sorry. You know, you get something in your throat. Anyway, this paintbrush here, let me put this in front of me so you can see it. See how teeny tiny this paintbrush is, the tip of that? This one happens to be a round, this is a 000. You're going to want to have a 000 or a 00. I think that's what I listed there. I want it to be really, really small. And you want it to be round. It shouldn't be a flat brush. And mine is by Winsor & Newton. That's what I use a lot. But I would have a decent quality. You don't have to go spend a gazillion dollars on your paintbrushes, but I would have a decent quality, and you want to have a really teeny tiny little one because we don't want to get a ton of water. We don't want to flood, you know, the image with paint and water and stuff. So So yeah, so read through the required things there. If you don't want to use the cherry blossoms, you can use whatever floral you have. It doesn't have to be our cherry blossoms. It's going to be more of a technique class, so that I'm just going to teach you how I do it. Will you have any Christmas themed items on HSN? Absolutely. Absolutely. Lots of holiday Christmas stuff coming up on HSN in July. Really cool stuff. Fun stuff. You know what? Let's do our giveaway real quick before I forget. We're giving away, we'll get a new one. It won't be the one that I just opened. So we're going to give away the 24 karat Polkadoodle stamp set, as well as the Sweet Sensation 6x6 paper pack. This is a double-sided paper pack, so you get a total of 24 patterns in here, 24 sheets. It's a good heavy cardstock. I love our paper. I am an absolute freak about paper. I love the feel of paper, the smell of paper, everything about it. But when I'm crafting, it's got to be a really good heavy cardstock, and this is. It's good stuff. So, who's the winner? Waiting for Alan to tell me. Who you got? Beverly Gleason. Beverly, you won! Yay! All I need from you is either send me a private message on Facebook. I need your name, your mailing address, complete mailing address. You can also send me an email. Send it to customerservice@ldrscreative.com, and that will get to us, and we will be able to get your prize out to you right away. Congratulations, Beverly! Woohoo!
Need a bell.
We need a bell. No, you know what? I need an applause sound effect. I think that would be really cool. That'd be a lot of fun. So this, oh, look at that. See, whenever I have green, the green screen goes right behind it. I think that's just funny. I still love the little floating heads because you can just have them peek around the corner. I think it's just the cutest thing. I hope you guys like this card. I had an absolute blast making it. It was so much fun. I love my little bunnies. I love that we have spring heading into summer here in Michigan. The weather has been absolutely beautiful, nice and hot, and I hope that it is really nice where you guys are too. I think we're done, and we're a few minutes early. Do we have any more questions? Mr. Producer?
I didn't see anything.
Nothing? No?
No.
No?
You've mentioned Saturday.
I mentioned Saturday,
Anything
the
else
watercolor
you need
class.
to mention?
Oh, what I would mention is this. If you haven't already, find our Facebook page, find our Facebook group, join our Facebook group. It is a private group, and we'd love to see you guys post your cards in there, anything that you make with any of your LDRS goodies. Our Facebook page, my goodness, please like our Facebook page, because you will get notifications of things that we do there. You'll get to see the stuff that we put on Instagram, and you'll get to see, you know, if we put special discounts in either of these places. Instagram is another really good place. Sometimes we put discount codes and stuff out just for Instagram and announcements as well. And our YouTube channel, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, we have videos other than these that go up on a weekly basis. And if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you're going to automatically get a notification that we've got a new video tutorial up, and chances are it's going to be with some of your favorite new goodies. So I will go ahead and, you know, we've also got a blog that you can subscribe to for daily inspiration right to your inbox as well. So we put a lot of content out to keep you guys inspired and to give you some really good crafting ideas and techniques. So I would really take advantage of that stuff if I were you. So anyway, I think we're about out of time. I had an absolute wonderful time. I'm going to be back here again on Saturday for the watercolor class. Again, it's absolutely free. It's going to be streamed automatically on our Facebook group, Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. So get your stuff together, sit down with some of your friends, keep an appropriate distance if you have to, if it's somebody who's not in your household. You know, just join along and maybe learn something, or just, you know, heck, if you want to just join in and, you know, listen and do some sewing or knitting, do that too. It's just kind of fun. We'll just kind of hang out. So I will see you guys on Saturday. I had a blast. Thank you. Bye.